Okay, I'm going to go through some of the differences between in-ear monitors and stage monitors, or what you might call wedges. I'm using the article I wrote on the same topic here, just kind of for notes. And if you want to read this, you can check it out in the description. There's a link to it in there. I'm also linking to some of the products that we use and recommend. We are a Sweetwater partner, just to be transparent. So that means that you don't pay anything extra, but that'll help out the channel. And that's also where I get a lot of my stuff. That's where our church gets a lot of stuff. So this is in the context of church and worship. Again, it applies to other situations. Pretty much anytime you have a small to medium sized venue, but this is just to help you answer the question of which one would be better for your situation. So the reason this came up in our church, and you can read a little bit more about that if you read the article, the sound techs wanted us to do in-ears, and musicians liked stage monitors and just really did not like the in-ears at all. Now that doesn't mean that you and your church or your musicians will be in the same situation, but particularly when it came to vocals, our vocalists did not like them. And I know that when I was only playing an instrument, I didn't mind it because I used it. Sometimes I would just use one earbud on one ear and then listen to everything else from my other ear. But even then, I still wanted a monitor. And when I was singing, I definitely could not get used to the in-ears. So just up front, that was our experience. And the reason it kept coming up was because when we had stage monitors, this is what was happening. So we had our stage, and then we have our monitors like this, and then we have kind of the rest of the church out here. And if you can visualize this, the main speakers were here on they were here on the ceiling, right? So they were projected out. I think there were four total. But what was happening, and the reason the sound techs did not like this, is because the stage wedges, the monitors on stage, were loud enough that they were bouncing off the back wall and then coming out into the main part of the room. And what that would cause was just a lot of interference with the house mix. So there were some times when they would make adjustments to the mains, and it really wouldn't change much out here. So that was why they wanted us to use in-ear monitors. And obviously, this depends on the room. Like, you can get acoustic treatment for the back wall like this, and we just haven't done that yet. That's probably something we're going to look into doing. But it was a big deal, and the disadvantage of stage monitors is that very thing, is that you can have problems with sound getting into the mix and causing problems for sound tech. So I'm guessing that's going to be generally the feel, if this is a debate, is that sound techs and whoever's working the mixer is going to prefer that musicians use in-ear monitors, while musicians themselves are going to prefer stage monitors. And here's why. So in-ear monitors, pros and cons. I'm just going to read through this. Ability to self-mix and set volume for every channel, usually from your phone. So the ones we have, our phones have a little app, and you can just control all of the mix on your phone. It's pretty handy. It allows you to completely isolate from sounds you don't want or need to hear. Almost always wireless, so you aren't tethered to a particular area. So the cons I've already kind of touched on, but I'll just read through these. Almost completely isolates you from room noise, which is not necessarily a good thing. It can feel very hemmed in and make it hard for you to communicate with other people on stage. Vocalists especially do not like them, and it is just, it's not good for vocals at all, in my opinion. Instruments, not too bad, but vocals I didn't like. So in our context, spoiler alert, floor wedges won this battle. And the compromise for us was to just make sure we keep, is if musicians are controlling their own monitor, which we often are, we have an iPad and we can control the monitors from there, from the stage. We just have to be diligent about keeping the overall output of those down. And then the sound techs in the booth, they bring the mains up a little bit, And that more or less deals with it. But like I said, we need to treat that back wall still. We really need to have something back here. But for the most part, keeping the volume keeping the volume here low and then pushing the volume of the mains up a little bit does help quite a bit. So that's where we landed. And if you go down here, I'll just read through this again. So some of the pros and cons of the floor monitors and wedges. So that gives you what you need to hear, and it lets you kind of enjoy the natural ambience of the room. It doesn't make you feel isolated from the atmosphere. Vastly better option for vocalists. Produces a much bigger sound that's more immersive. I think almost universally, anybody who plays an instrument or sings at our church prefers this. And as I've kind of already touched on, some of the cons are the big one that I mentioned, floor monitors project sound off the back wall, making it difficult for sound techs to balance the house mix. So with sound coming from the floor monitors off the back wall and into the middle of the room. So they're also difficult to move, require a musician to be in front of it most of the time. And this is a pretty well-known problem, they can be a source of feedback, especially from mics and acoustic guitars. And I won't get into that. But that's the decision that you're going to have to make, and you're going to have to decide which issues you want to deal with. Now, I don't think every room is going to be susceptible to this, especially if you have treatment on your back wall. But I can say that we've been in two different buildings, two different rooms, and two very different shapes, and it has been a problem each time. So I think what you're going to want to do, and in neither room did we have acoustic treatment on the back wall. So I think what you're going to want to do is make sure you have that back wall treated. Make sure you keep your monitor volume down enough, and make sure you keep mains high enough to kind of take care of the body of the room, so that the monitor mix doesn't interfere with the main mix. And I think I kind of here's another diagram I did. See, this looks a lot better. It's still pretty shoddy, but I took my time with this and I didn't just scribble everything. So we had the mains out here, and then we had the four wedges. We have four wedges and four mains, and you can see it was just this was kind of the trajectory: bounce off the wall, come out. So that is where I would land. And the my formal, I guess you could call it, recommendation is to use the floor monitors and just to prioritize your musicians. And that might sound kind of self-serving because I'm not really a tech guy. I'm more often on the musician end of this, but I think that's a better option. I really do, just from based on my experience, based on the experience I've had with other people who do music at our church. Also, keep the volume of each monitor on the lower side so it doesn't interfere with the main mix. Then push the volume of mains up higher within reason to make sure they're prominent in most of the room. So just to cover your options, these are the in-ear monitors we use. We still have these. This is the exact same thing, the exact same model, and you're going to take. We have these little transmitters in a rack, and then you basically clip this pack onto your belt or guitar strap or whatever, and then it comes with these earbuds that are wired into the pack. Now, on in some cases we've had issues with interference and some electrical interference with these, and that again, that's just going to depend on the room you're in. That's not really something you can plan for, and they are definitely on the expensive side, like $1,000 for one of these. But this is what we use for what it's worth, and sometimes we'll still use them. Sometimes we have some of the instrumentalists that will pull these out and maybe use one in addition to the monitor they have. I've done that sometimes with bass, where I'll have the in-ear monitor in my left ear, and then the stage monitor to kind of to my right, and then I can hear everything out of my right ear as well. But even if I've had this, I still wanted a stage monitor. So it's to me, this is sort of a bonus to have. And I think if we had not made it, if there was not a push to have everyone used these all the time, we probably wouldn't have bought them because I don't think we would spend $1,000 on something that was just going to kind of be like a bonus to have. Like, oh, it's nice to have. That probably wouldn't have happened, but we have them and we still use them from time to time. And as far as the stage monitors we use, this is actually doubles as a PA speaker. It can be either one, but this JBL is what we run and kind of just set it on its side. So you can either stand it up or you can set it on the side uh, like this. Yeah, and it's $600 is not out of the ordinary. JBL is a pretty good brand for this kind of stuff, and I think we usually buy these, and there's another brand for subs. I did a video on subs, and I can't remember what the brand was now. But these are fine. They'll do the job. They sound great. They're plenty loud enough. 1,300 watts, and of course they're they're obviously plenty loud because, well, they're bouncing sound off the back wall and into the room and bothering our sound techs. So that's what we use, and hopefully it's helpful to you. You're going to have to kind of make the call based on your situation, based on the room you're in, and definitely how you're like before you buy these, check with your musicians and get a feel for how they would receive this type of thing. Because in our case, musicians really did not like the in-ears, but it could be different for you. Hopefully this helps you make a call. So that's all I got. We'll see you next time.